Hi, my name is Blake Bentley, and I'll be doing my speech for you today on factory farming. The business of farming is one that traces back several decades. As in most businesses, farming has evolved throughout the years, becoming more technological and competitive. The days of traditional farming in a natural environment are quickly diminishing as factory farming practices grow. There is a growing consensus that factory farming of animals, also known as CAFOS, or concentrated animal feeding operations, is morally wrong. We will examine 3 factors as to why factory farming should be exposed. Factory farms do not produce healthy, safe food. They permit unsafe practices that harm our environment, and they allow for abuse of thousands of chickens, hogs, and cows. Here are a few of the many problems. 1. Factory farms do not produce health-safe food. There are 5,000 deaths and 76 million cases of food-borne illness, many that can be tracked back to factory farms each year. Unwanted substances not meant for human consumption, such as antibiotics and growth hormones that these animals are fed, end up being put into our bodies, causing humans bad health. We need to see the purchase and consumption of the product to make sure we are not harming our bodies. Factory farms are violating the most basic and ethical standards of how we should treat animals and the environments. 2. Factory farms permit unsafe practices that harm our environment. The waste lagoons are concentrated animal feeding operations. Not only pollute our groundwater, but the deplete in it as well. Many of the farms use the groundwater for cleaning, cooling, and drinking. Factory farms contribute to an air pollution by releasing compounds such as hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, and methane. Factory farming accounts for 37% of methane emissions. Methane has more than 20 times the global warming potential of CO2. 3. Factory farms allow for abuse of thousands of chickens, hogs, and cows. The overwhelming majority of these animals have spent their entire lives crammed inside filthy, windowless sheds, confined to wire cages, gestation crates, dirt loads, and other cruel confinement systems. Their suffering isn't just for a few hours or days, but for all their lives. These animals will never raise their families, root around in the soil, build nests, or do anything that is natural and important to them. Most animals will never even see the light of day until the day they are loaded onto the trucks bound for the slaughterhouse. The factory farming industry strives to maximize output while minimizing cost. However, this is bad for the animals. Corporations have realized that cramming the animals into teeny spaces, they can make more money. Egg-laying hens are unable to stretch their wings because their cages are too small and crowded. With nothing to do all day, they become frustrated and attack each other. To prevent losses, producers sear off their beaks, cutting through sensitive nerves. The industry journal National Hog Farmer explains crowding pigs pay. An egg industry expert Bernard Rollins writes that chickens are cheap, cages are expensive, chickens reared in jam-packed sheds that hold 20,000 birds are genetically altered to grow faster than most of them can develop. Chickens will be full grown in 4 to 5 weeks, which normally takes 10 to 12 weeks. These fast growth cause leg problems because their immature bones cannot bear the weight of their bodies. Professor John Webster of the University of Bristol's School of Veterinarian of Science said broiler chickens are the only livestock that are in their chronic pain for the last 20% of their lives. They don't move around, not because they are overstocked, but because it hurts their joints so much. Some will become so crippled that they can't even get to their food or water just inches away, so they will starve to death. Hogs are another animal that suffer great abuse. Pigs produce large amounts of waste, and then confined to 8 by 10 cells will often produce even more waste due to the amount of stress they are in due to the tight confinement. Pigs will often form pneumonia due to all the waste. Pigs will often become aggressive with each other and bite the tails of other pigs off, so the producer will go ahead and cut their tails off. This is done with no painkiller. Pigs will often bite the bars of their shells due to boredom, which can cause injuries to themselves. Like chickens and pigs, cows are mistreated. They don't get to roam or graze in pastures. Most are confined in crates, too narrow for them to even turn around. Cows are usually taken immediately from their mothers, so they don't even have time to ever nurse. If the cow is a boy, it will be injected with hormones to grow rapidly to produce many pounds of beef. If a cow is a female, it will be injected to grow rapidly to produce milk faster. Dairy cows are often milked so much they stop producing milk due to injury and infection. After this, they are sent to slaughter, where they produce low-grade meat that you can find in your fast food hamburgers. When animals are taken to be slaughtered, they are loaded onto crowded trucks and transported over many miles through all weather conditions, typically without food or water. Those who survive this nightmarish journey will have their throats slit, often while they are still conscious. Many remain conscious when they are plunged into salting hot water for defeathering or hair removal tanks, or while their bodies are being skinned or taken apart. We have examined how factory farms do not produce healthy, safe food, and they permit unsafe practices that harm our environment, and how they allow for abuse of thousands of chickens, hogs, and cows. Opposition to factory farming is a responsibility we all must take, an opposition once associated with mostly animal rights activists now is shared by many.